Hi, BonBon here. It's the third and final part of the 15k celebration Q&A. If you missed parts 1 and 2 and want to catch up, the links are at the top of the description. Otherwise, just dive on in and we'll finish off this third part of the 3-part series.
Alright, probably the hardest question of all. What are your all-time 3 favorite maps that you've reviewed?
Well, I'm really glad you finished that question with the words that you've reviewed, because obviously I've reviewed all of them, obviously. So what I'm taking that as is which are my top 3 map reviews, or the actual review process, rather than the actual best 3 maps there have ever been. Now, of the 3 maps I'm going to name, 2 of them would be very much in my best maps there have ever been, and 1 of them clearly isn't, but I really enjoyed doing the review anyway. So let's go all the way back. How about in the order of release, okay? Episode 168. That one was a little map called Merrickstowe. Now, the creator of that map was me. This was my own map. But I didn't reveal that I was actually making a map. I kept it very quiet. When I did the review, I just wanted to have that sort of like little bit of a reveal at the end of the show. And so what I did was I made it under a fake name. Fake name was Pseudonym. Pseudonym? See what I did there? Yeah, I know. Very few people did. And so the big reveal at the end, I mean, I think it made for the show. It was a lot of fun to do. I had a lot of fun making that map, and there were a lot of fun little features on the map that I was able to show that I was very proud of. But reviewing them as third party, so yes, I really enjoyed making that episode. So I'm going to put that one down as one of my favourite 3. Then the other 2, which aren't my maps. The second one, episode 600, Revelstoke by Bringer of Fire. Wow. Seriously, wow. If that isn't in everybody's top 5 maps of all time, I don't know what maps you're looking at. It's, I mean, potentially the best map there has ever been uploaded to the workshop, depending on who you talk to, what you're looking for. It broke the mold. It set new standards. The custom dam genre was just blown away by what Bringer brought to the table on that map. It was one of those maps that I opened it up and just thought, where do I go with this? How do I present this? This is new. This is completely game-changing. And game-changing maps, sometimes you get, you know, it was just the one map that switched everything. So yes, absolutely. Episode 600, Revelstoke by Bringer of Fire. And the last one, I'm still going back into those first thousands, you know, going back quite some time here. Episode 762, Windy Plateau by Nico Lav RJ, or Nico Lav Jr. as I used to call him before they very kindly corrected me. He's like, no, you got your letters the wrong way around there. Ah, yes. Bad BonBon. That map, vanilla and brilliant. Just brilliant. Highly recommend. Just go watch the review. Make it 100% vanilla map. It's going to look ugly, sort of, because it's vanilla. Yes. Take that as you go in. You'll still love it. It's an amazing piece of work. And again, it was one of those maps that I opened it up and I went, where do I start with this? It was mind-blowing. Absolute brilliant. Yeah. Stunning work. So yes, those 3, I'd go Merrickstowe, Revelstoke, and Windy Plateau. Nearly forgot the third one.
How do you pick out specific maps to choose? Is there a certain criteria or specific things that should be in it?
Well, if you want to see the selection process, that is a show that I do every week, exclusive to the BonBonB buddies on Patreon and on YouTube membership. For $2 a month, you'll get full access to that. And yes, it's half an hour a week of me looking through the Steam Workshop, picking out the ones which are jump. So that's the best way to actually get in there and get your head around the sort of things that I'm looking for. The answer to the question is not a simple answer. The Tuesday show obviously is a request map, so it's whatever map's been on the request list for the longest. So there's that one. The Friday map is one voted for by the BonBonB buddies, which is either a request map or one that has been on the list for so long that we never got around to doing, and then they pick out the best of those. Then the other 4 days of the week, what I do is I go on to the workshop and then I work my way down from the most popular maps of the week, from whatever's at number 1. Look at number 1. Is there any reason why we shouldn't review the map that's at number 1? And if there's not, then it's definitely going in on the Monday. And then we look at the map that's number 2. Is there any reason why we shouldn't review this one? And sometimes there are. There can be reasons, like it could be just very obviously broken. It might just be a duplicate of a previous map. It might be like version 3 of Revelstoke. We're not going to do version 3. We've done version 1. There's no point to go unless there is a massive game-changing change in a map. We don't go back and look at it again. So we can work our way. And then, of course, there are things like would this review be interesting? So as we get down to sort of like map number 5, map number 6, we look, is this map going to be interesting? By looking at the screenshots, you can say it has something interesting about it. A feature, maybe there's some detailing aspects about it that could make for an interesting show. So there is no straightforward answer. It does help to have a few decent screenshots, so that I can look at it and go, yep. Yeah. It's a question of, as a player, and you're trying to choose which maps you want to play, which maps would you instantly discount anyway? There's no point in looking at them. But if a map has questions about it, then maybe it should be reviewed. If it doesn't quite make the review for the week, then it just goes on to the long list and it slowly filters its way down the long list until it gets to the top of the long list, and then the buddies get to vote on it. So that's kind of how it works.
What quantifies for a 0 or 1 star map?
This is fairly easy. A 1-star map is where I cannot find anything positive to say. Even if I can find one little thing that I can mark a map up on, be it there was a nice little bit of detailing somewhere, or the aesthetics could be worse, anything like that, you don't get 1 star. If I look at something, I go, do you know what? I cannot see any way that this could be worse. Or, of course, in gameplay potential, if the map is literally broken or is missing a key mod, like network extensions too, then it is a broken map and it gets 1 star. 0 stars is if the map is unrateable for whatever reason. It just does not fit in with our rating system, which I think we did with J Knobs on one occasion, where we just looked at the map and went, it's amazing for what it is. It doesn't fit into our scoring categories, so we're just going to ignore it. 0 stars across the board. And then there was one occasion where there was something about a map that I just got really angry about. I would give this 1 star, but it doesn't even deserve that, and I just gave it 0 for whatever reason. I was wrong. I should not have done that. I should have stuck to the rules, but I was just in a bad mood.
Where do I see the list of requested maps and when they may be coming?
Alright, there is no published list of the requests, so they just sit on my PC and I work through them as required. Yeah, I'm afraid publishing that would just give me one more thing to do every single week, and I do too much already. So I've no plans to publish that. What I do publish though on a Sunday is a list of all the maps that are coming up for the upcoming week. That is free to view on my Patreon. That's patreon.com/BonBonB. I don't think you need a Patreon account, a free one or anything, to be able to view it. I might be wrong on that one, but yes, you should be able to view that for free on a Sunday. It tells you what shows are coming up Monday to Saturday, in fact Monday to Sunday, if there's anything special coming up on the Sunday, and what shows are being shown exclusively to the buddies on Patreon and in YouTube membership.
Do you prefer building bottom up or excavating top down?
Is that some kind of euphemism? Foundations. Build on foundations.
What's the best ever map you never got to make?
What? Huh?
What do you think about 729 tile maps? Would you like to use or review such a huge map if it were possible?
Yes, I've seen this come up a few times. So, 729 tiles, what is all that about? I know there's a few people wondering what. So, currently we have the 81 tile grid, 9 tiles by 9 tiles. 81 tiles, imagine that playing area is now 1 tile. Got that? Got that concept in your head? Your 729 tile grid is 9 of these tiles. So imagine your playing area being 9 times larger than you have now. The answer to the question is, would I want to review it? And would I want to build one? Honestly, I think at that point we're getting too big. I just think at that point we're getting too big. We've got a very big playing area already. And while it's idealistically great to have an even larger playing area, it becomes a point where if you turn to the likes of, say, Sidai, one of the greats, and say, could you make a great map on here? Well, they might spend 100 hours working on a 9 by 9 tile. When you're talking 27 by 27 tiles, that 100 hours is going to become 900 hours to put in the same amount of effort over the larger area. It's a bit too much, which is why I think if City Skylines 2 comes along, if it is that sort of size or bigger, I really hope there is some kind of procedural generation for terrain to give us something that we can set some scales on. And yes, of course, be able to edit it in the map editor and so forth. But procedural generation of the terrain, I think, would be absolutely key. And we know it can be done. We've seen it in Transport Fever. Transport Fever does it really well indeed. And so, yes, something like that I think would work very nicely for City Skylines. But do I want to build a 729 tile? Not really. It's too much. Too much, I tell you.
What were your favorite television programs as a kid?
I guess that depends on what sort of age when you were a kid. As a little one, I used to enjoy Mr. Men, and then as I got a bit older, then you got things like used to enjoy Danger Mouse. Love Danger Mouse. Not the new Danger Mouse, the old Danger Mouse. Definitely cool. And then as a teenager, I used to sit down and watch Saturday morning TV from the minute I woke up to the minute I went to bed. So things like Swat Shop or Saturday Superstore or Live and Kicking, all those sort of things on a Saturday morning were good for me. So I think that pretty much covers everything.
What are your favorite films and series? And which series are you currently watching, reading? What music are you listening to? What are your hobbies right now? Etc.
Oh, that's a lot. Reading. I have got my factoid book here from the 1980s. I don't really have time to read anything else at the moment. I've got a bookshelf full of quirky books. I think that's the best way to put them. They are quirky books, dictionaries and stuff like that. I love all of that stuff. It makes me sound like I'm intellectual, and I'm really not. But yes, I've got a whole bunch of reference books and stuff like that that I occasionally will dip into just for a bit of a curiosity, really. So right, there's that. What else was there? What TV shows am I watching at the moment? I've just started watching on Netflix a show called Colony. It's a sci-fi post-apocalyptic world's been invaded by aliens. I'm up to about episode 5 or 6 in season 1, and at the moment I'm not entirely sure that it's going to be for me, but it's got me hooked enough that I can hang on in there for now. Music genre, well, that was in there, wasn't it? I like pretty much most stuff. I'm not into anything that's too loud because I'm getting old, but yeah, you could play me something from anything from the 1920s up to the 1980s. Motown, through to old music hall, big band, pop, disco, rock and roll. But yes, as long as the bass isn't too deep, I'm good with most stuff. Oh, and bit of classical, bit of jazz. I like jazz, none of the heavy stuff that you can't get your head around. But yeah, pretty much most stuff.
You seem to be a fan of racing. Being British, what do you think of NASCAR?
Ah, yes. Now, I am a fan of racing, but I'm not a petrol head. I am really not a petrol head. The sound of engines running past my window annoys me. Here comes one. Perfect timing. Yeah, that just annoys me. The noise, I just don't like noise. But yes, I like racing. It's more actually that I'm a fan of sport in general, and there's not really many sports that I don't enjoy. I would say I prefer sports that are refereed rather than judged. So while I'll accept that gymnasts are amazing athletes, it's judged. It's an opinion on who did a better cartwheel. It shows how much I know about gymnastics, doesn't it? But yes, who did the better cartwheel or who did the better handstand? Yeah, I know it's more technical than that. They're looking for very specific things. But if it's who got to the line first, who scored the most goals, I put the ball between the posts. Yeah, if it's refereed, if you can count, if you can measure, if it's the fastest or the slowest or whatever, that for me is a sport that I'm interested in, and that does of course include motor racing. Now there's arguments over, but this team had more money spent on it, so they have faster cars. Yep, that's a completely different thing altogether. We won't go into it. As for NASCAR, I don't know a huge amount about NASCAR. I wouldn't claim to be an aficionado or anything like that. I've watched a bit of it. I've enjoyed what I've watched. I didn't enjoy the Tom Cruise movie. That's a different story. Just no. Just didn't grab me at all. I did own NASCAR racing on the PC back in about 19... Where would you have been? We've been about 1996, 1997. Thereabouts, not checking the release dates or anything, but yes, I had that on the PC. It was on about 6 floppy disks. Took a while to install, as they all did back in those days, and I really enjoyed playing that particular game. Even though I was racing using the keyboard, steering using the cursor keys, that was a nightmare. But yes, thoroughly enjoyed playing it. I do enjoy watching it. I couldn't tell you an awful lot about it. I'm more Formula 1, although even Formula 1 I'm kind of out of shape on at the moment because I've been so busy doing loads of other things. So yes, like racing. NASCAR, great. Of all the American sports, it's probably the one that I've been most interested in following, but not really going to the racetrack and dealing with the noise of those engines because it's just too loud for me.
For the love of salted peanuts, what the hell is your job? For years it sounded to me like you've had a minimum wage job, but I highly doubt that.
Alright, so I'm in the candy business. I buy, supply and sell candy. I'm on the high street as well, so there is that. The problem for me has been fewer and fewer people using the high street. So I started trading 15 years ago, and my sales are about 50% of where we were 15 years ago. So when I started up, I had staff, I had a team, and it's got to the point now that it's do you cover your rent? If you cover your rent, you're good. Basically, that's it. And then YouTube gives me a bit of money for food. It has got to the point that the bottom has fallen out of the high street, sadly. COVID has seen a massive drop off of my sales. Where I was struggling somewhat before, I've seen another 30 to 40% drop off with people just not going to the shops. And so, yeah, it has got to the point that minimum wage, I don't earn minimum wage. I pay myself for what it costs me to live, and I live very cheaply. So if I may pay myself £30 a week out of the till, for food and stuff, and any essentials. Yeah, I take what's required. It's very difficult to quantify because it's over the course of a year. You take the number over the course of the year and you divide by 52, and it's just very difficult to quantify when you're a sole trader. I don't draw a salary as such. I'd probably be better off on the dole, but also my mental health would go through the floor. I'd rather work for nothing than sit around and get paid a little bit more for doing nothing. So yeah, there is that. So yes, minimum wage. Yeah, basically, yeah, but it keeps me off the street and is a happy trade, and I enjoy doing it. A few of you are going to say, do you do online? I did, but you can't compete with Amazon. Even if you're in the UK, your shipping costs in the UK, if you're buying, say, £2 worth of candy from me in the UK, your shipping costs are going to be about £4 on top. So you're spending £6 for £2 worth of candy. And yet, if you've got Amazon Prime, you place the order with Amazon and it'll arrive next day. There's no competing with them, so I stopped trying. If you're in America and you want to place an order for some candy, then yeah, we can do that. But again, you're going to be looking at stupid costs for shipping, and it's just not worth it. It's just not worth it. So I don't try and compete. I just rely on walk-in trade.
Do you like BonBon?
Do I like myself? Sometimes, if I just treated myself. Do I like candy? Yeah, of course I like candy. Do I eat loads of candy? No, I'm surrounded by candy all day long, and all I want is savouries when I'm surrounded by candy. I do have some favourite sweets, but yes, I do like BonBon. Yes.
How do you shake off the unshakable dread that every human is selfish and will only care for themselves, leaving everyone in this horrible world moaning in agony for the rest of their lives?
Have you met my friend, Jack Daniels?
Do you like football? If yes, who do you support?
Yeah, it's Leeds United. Leeds through and through, till I die. And, of course, England.
Do you play any other games? If yes, what games?
There are other games? Of course. Alright, okay. The main ones after work for a bit of wind down, I'll maybe play for half an hour on Rocket League, which is cars with rockets on the back and a big old beach ball and goals in an indoor arena, and you are playing with some other person from somewhere in the world who probably doesn't know you and you probably don't know them, and you're playing as a team, and teams of 3, teams of 2. Can play solo, but I prefer the team ethic. And yes, so Rocket League. And whilst I'm at work in between customers on a quiet day, that can be quite a bit of time to sit down and play Civilization 6. Absolutely lovely game. I'm very happy to play that between in the quiet moments at work, and like I say, there are plenty of them these days. So yeah, those would be my main two. There are other games that I do enjoy, but yeah, in terms of if you look at my play hours on Steam, it'd be those two.
What is your favorite dinner when you cook it for yourself?
Well, if I'm cooking for myself, I'm going to keep it really simple. So just like pasta with some sauce and maybe a bit of chicken, just nothing very special. Throw a few veggies out the freezer onto the side of the plate. Might even cook them first. So yes, so I keep it something simple like that. I do, in terms of desserts, I do make a killer bread and butter pudding. So there is that. If ever you're eating with me, expect bread and butter pudding for dessert.
What do you most enjoy doing when not working nor doing City Skylines related activities?
That's a very easy one to answer. I do love a nap.
What other games do you play in your spare time?
Well, beyond Rocket League and Civilization 6, Geoguessr, the online browser game, I love dipping into that. That's a lot of fun. And looking at what I've got listed on Steam as currently installed, of those, been playing a bit of Mini Motorways lately, and Stranded Deep I've played a little bit here and there just lately, but yeah, I did a full reinstall fairly recently, and there's a bunch of games there that would normally be sitting on my system that just aren't getting played. But yeah, I'd say yeah, Mini Motorways and Geoguessr are the two that I play on top of what I've mentioned already.
What's your favorite YouTuber to watch?
Well, that would be actually away from City Skylines, because I do so much in City Skylines. When I watch YouTube, I try and watch something different. Do love Tom Scott. Tom Scott's great. The Tim Traveller is great as well. But I think my all-time favourite is Jay Foreman. And Jay Foreman's actually part of a team with, I've forgotten the name of his buddy because I'm currently brain dead, which is most of the time anyway. They actually do a map show as well. So yeah, Jay Foreman.
If you had to choose between A, never being able again to play City Skylines, but still putting out content on YouTube from other games, or B, never being able again to put out content on YouTube, but still being able to play the game, what would it be?
Well, that would be goodbye City Skylines. There's so many other directions that you can go into, and yet a limit on a game which has been around for a little while now, a limit to what you can do within the game. So yeah, I'd just branch out. I am branching out. Got a new channel coming. Haven't mentioned that yet, have I?
How many questions do you want? I could go on all day.
Okay, how about 3 about pizza, please?
Pineapple on a pizza?
Yes, and I'll raise you banana.
Anchovies on pizza?
Are you mad? Are you raving mad? No.
Swedish pizza?
Swedish pizza? Well, I've just Googled it, and according to Google, it's banana, which I've already confirmed is good, and curry. Banana curry powder. I'm not a big fan of curry, so I'm going to say no.
Can you name every state in the United States?
I guess that spells time for a Sporkle quiz. So here we go. This is my attempt. Had I been better organised and kind of like done it by alphabet or by left to right, right to left, north to south, something. But no, I was kind of disorganised. I just went at a random order, and then loads of spelling issues as well. How do you spell Massachusetts and so forth? Forgot Indiana, so the answer's no. I can't name all 50.
Philosophically, how do you conceptualize the world?
That would be 7 billion people just trying to get through to the next day as comfortably as possible. Some people won't make it. Some people will make it far too easily.
When will we get special bingo cards with sirens on them? When will we get tree trunk seaware? When will we get rail and road bikini tops?
Be careful what you wish for.
Can you make a parody of the show called BonBonB or BOAZIBI when you pretend to be a Chinese immigrant in place of BonBonB?
Don't you think I'm in enough trouble already? Every time I open my mouth, I shoot myself in the foot. I am certainly not going to be doing a bunch of stereotypical accents very badly just to appease you. No, I think we'll avoid that parody show. I'll leave it for somebody else to do.
Will you give my next map a maximum of 15 stars altogether?
Sure, why not? 15 stars on your next map, not a problem. In fact, your next map is going to be so special that what I'm going to do is I'm going to introduce 12 brand new categories, including chillness and wokeness, and I'm going to give your map 1 star in all 15 categories.
Let's be honest, Alf has come here for the uncle jokes and the uncle jokes only.
If you're insinuating that I'm doing the dirty with your father's sister, well, that's not something we should be joking about.
What are you going to do right now?
Have you met my mate Jack? And so that's it. The 15k celebration Q&A is no more. Thank you very much for making it through to the very end. I hope you've watched all 3 parts. If you didn't, of course, the links to the first 2 parts are in the description. I have nothing more to add apart from just thank you very much for being part of the BonBonB community, one of the BonBon buddies, whether you are a Patreon member, a YouTube member, or just a general viewer. You are all important to me and I love having you around. You just keep me going and you entertain me as much as hopefully I entertain you. I've been BonBonB, you have been very, very welcome and I will catch you again very, very soon.